Hey y'all, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about today's is our weekly roundup. I haven't been doing these as consistently as I should because honestly, y'all, I've been working a lot on content for the YouTube and not my content for my other platforms as much. And I was also banned on Facebook, so I couldn't even do it. But I have been trying to get back into it and interact with you guys again. So this video is intended to be my weekly roundup, but it'll also be posted on YouTube as a as in parts. Okay, so um, what are we talking about this week, y'all? Whew. Child, a lot has happened this week, okay? So, one of the best things that happened was the Teddy Riley and Babyface battle. Y'all, I think we've all been waiting for this. Like, it's been highly anticipated ever since it was announced. Fortunately, it had to get postponed because Babyface was struggling with coronavirus, actually. And so they postponed it. It happened on Monday. Oh, it was supposed to happen on Sunday, I believe. Teddy Riley had massive tech issues. Actually, I just got on Twitter and one of my tweets kind of went viral off of that. That was my first tweet that got over 200 likes. So, just to tell you guys how crazy that was, right? So, we have that situation. Then on Monday, not only was Teddy late, but he had tech issues again and he didn't know how to get back into life. So it has been a lot, honey child. But I will say it was not only the most anticipated, but it was actually the most, from the ones that I've seen, the most highly attended. I mean, they had almost 500,000 people in there. I mean, that's crazy. The only other one that I saw that had like quite as many people was half the amount, and that was Lil Jon versus T-Pain. So it was really exciting, guys. It was nostalgic. I think out of the battles that I've watched, it was the best one. So let's go through the battles that have happened, at least the ones that I've watched, because I haven't watched any of them, and y'all, all of them. But y'all, I also have my notes today because I just don't want to keep rambling because I'm good for that. So, I saw RZA versus Premier. I thought that was a great battle, but it was definitely, of course, a more old head hip hop audience. Um, there was little tech issues. RZA did have a little problem with his microphone, but in terms of the music and the back and forth, it was really what you would expect, I guess. RZA being Wu-Tang Clan's, major producer, a lot of his stuff was Wu stuff, and Premier had a wider range in terms of artists. But I think it was pretty much a draw. For me personally, I probably lean a little more towards DJ Premier, but it was a great battle. And again, for those real serious hip-hop heads, I know they probably enjoyed it, especially those who grew up in the 80s, 90s. I mean, I'm sure they were just, it was nostalgic, y'all. The next one that I watched was I also watched T-Pain's Lil Jon. I think that was the best, one of the best, like, head for head, other than Babyface and T-Pain, and Teddy Riley. That was like one of the best, like, matchups. I mean, both have a lot of range. Even though Lil Jon, I think, has a little bit more range, he had a lot of those like um, top 40, regular club. Doesn't have to just be urban club bangers like the stuff he had with LMFAO. He had done a reggae joint that's like an old school reggae joint that I didn't even know he did. And then he had, of course, other types of like more techno-y, you know, music as well. So I think it was a little bit more, had more range, but T-Pain obviously came with those bangers as well. And I personally love T-Pain. And honestly, there were so many songs I was like, oh, I forgot about the song. And I had to go and download them right after. So that was a great battle, and I think it was a great matchup. The other one that I watched was Manifest versus Scott Storch. Unfortunately, I think this was the worst matchup so far. I don't know why they matched them. I think they're both great producers on their own, but I think as a matchup, it's hard to really critique them head for head for a few reasons. One, Manny Fresh is like, he has his niche, okay? He's not as versatile and as wide range in terms of the artists that he's worked with or the kind of music that he produces as Scott Storch. So Scott Storch definitely had that upper hand. In addition, if people like that kind of music with Manny Fresh, he's going to win, period. Not everyone likes the, less urban-y stuff or less, type of that type of rap or southern rap in general. So I think it was just a bad matchup. I don't think it was so much that Manny was not as good. Honestly, me personally, I think Manny held his own. But a lot of people, of course, went and sided with Scott Storch, so that was a little bit unfortunate. But honestly, I think that, you know, if they had different matchups, it could have been a different, it would have been a different result. The next one I watched was The Dream versus Sean Garrett, which again I thought was a really good matchup. You forget that Sean Garrett was such a, like, you know, people remember Gripping on the Bed and things like that. That was one of my favorite songs. And I had to go download it after. I was like, ooh, damn, I forgot that song. So, anyways, you know, but I mean, The Dream is the dream, y'all. Like, Love versus Money, when that whole mixtape came out, it was just like, I mean, that was just, it's really hard to top that. I mean, the man produces, makes songs, can sing. I mean, it's really hard to beat that. Sean Garrett can sing, but, like, you know, The Dream is really just, like, so multi-talented. Love versus Money, the song, not the first one, not the second, Love versus Money. I mean, that's just like, that song just I mean, you feel what he's going through in that song. I mean, when he dropped that, I mean, I had to go listen to the whole album again. Nicki, Kelly's 12 Play, Put It Down, Mr. Yeah, all of that. That is how good that album is. So, just that alone, to me, puts The Dream over Sean Garrett. But I do think that they had some pretty good back and forth. I think Sean Garrett fell a little short, though, and I think that they had to give that one to The Dream. The next ones that happened, but I did not watch, y'all, was Swizz Beatz and Timbaland. I think that that's probably a very even matchup. They're both such wide range artists. But I think Timbaland probably would have won out, and I will go and watch it at some point on YouTube. But, you know, Timbaland worked with, like, Nelly Furtado and all of that, and I think he just has a little bit wider range in a lot of ways. So I think they would have to give it to him. French Montana and Tory Lanez. I'm sorry, y'all. I love Tory Lanez. Love him. I feel like he's what Drake wishes he was. That's my opinion. And personally, French Montana, I've seen him in concert. He's a really bad performer, even though I like some of his songs. So, I'm biased. So I'm just gonna go with Tory Lanez. Not only can he rap, and he's good at rapping, but he can sing. So, I go with him. I did love his first mixtape as well, so I am very biased. Like, I'm a real Tory Lanez fan before he started getting really popular and had all those mainstream songs. So, you know, like I was saying, I'm not exactly an impartial party. But I do feel like Tory Lanez just has better content. Is it more mainstream? No. French Montana has great mainstream songs. A lot of them I like. Lockjaw, things like that. But in terms of a head-to-head, I don't know if he can come up with 20 bangers. I'm going to really be like, oh yeah, this was great. So, next one. Boy Wonder and versus Hit Boy. Listen, I don't know who those people are, so we're just going to go right past that. Neo versus Jonte Austin. Listen, I hate Neo. I do agree he's a great producer. He just needs to continue to produce and write songs for people instead of being in front of the mic, okay? Because I do not like him. Other than Say It and Mirror, I could go without Neo. So I'm not partial. I mean, I'm not partial. I'm a partial party, I should say. Got tripped off over my words. That's how much I hate Neo. Anyways, so I'm not even gonna really give you anything because basically I'm gonna tell you guess who wins. Whoever's not Neo. And that was it so far. Now, there are some matchups that people have been suggesting that I think would be really great. Like, I would love to see some duo matchups. I would love to see some, like, groups, like R&B groups do some matchups. I know they're doing a gospel matchup, but y'all don't want me doing it. I ain't going there. You know, me and God are good, but, you know, I just don't want to, like, push it too much. But I think there's some other really good matchups that have been suggested. I would like to see Drake with somebody, even though I don't like Drake. I think that he would be a good candidate. I would love to see, like, Chris Brown. I would love to just see some other people who, you know, have a lot of music and have been in the game for a long time. So I will say that, like, these IG battles have been so much fun to watch because you get to see these artists in a different element, and they have to be on the fly a little bit without their whole team. So it's been really, really nice to watch them. So, guys, let me know in the comments what your thoughts have been on these IG battles, okay? All right, so our next topic, guys, is COVID-19 and all the changes. So on my Facebook, I had, you know, asking for suggestions, and a lot of people have been, like, just confused, right? Because there are so many changes all the time in the COVID information. I think people are getting frustrated, or they feel like they're being lied to. Okay, let me tell you. I'll be the first one to say you can't believe everything that you see, everything that you hear. Government does definitely cover stuff up. They lie, whatever. All that is definitely true. So I caveat that. However, I would encourage people to follow reputable sources that put out the most up-to-date information, meaning that this is where we're getting information because they are the closest to it. They're taking the data and they're the ones who are disseminating data to other agencies. For example, CDC, okay, which is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. That's the number one. The next is the WHO. The WHO is actually, guys, the only organization in the world that can call something a pandemic, okay? So the WHO is a very, very important agency. And of course, it's structured in the way it is so that's kind of impartial. So it's not coming from one country, from one state or anything like that. This is a global coalition, and people from most countries, from a lot of countries, and the top experts from a lot of countries, I should say, in any area are involved through the WHO. I have worked personally, directly with past high-ranking officers, I should say, in the WHO. And if you don't know what that stands for, is the World Health Organization. So, do I believe that people lie? Yes, but the thing is, get the information, guys, then do your research, understand. That's the part that's not happening. People take information from a person on YouTube that just talking, doesn't provide you no evidence or information, and they don't even go ahead and research that information, even if the person did provide information, and they just tell me that everything's wrong. No, go to CDC, go to WHO, research the things that they're saying. If you want to, you can learn more about, pathology. Y'all, there is more than just a doctor saying something. Like, this is a whole big thing. We'll talk about that later. After those organizations, the other two that I would suggest is the American Medical Association, which is AMA, and the American Nurses Association, which is ANA. If you are a nurse, or if you want to know about how nurses are dealing with this and what their responses should be and the most up-to-date information in that regard, ANA is a great source. If you want to know just from the medical standpoint, so for physicians, for anybody on the medical side in that capacity, particularly physicians, you want to look at the American Medical Association, okay? So these are agencies that are working directly, guys, with the president and with other organizations to make sure that information is disseminated and people are not only getting access to resources, but also getting proper information, and they're speaking about how these things affect medical professionals, okay? So another resource, and this might sound weird, is Snopes, okay? I am giving you Snopes, SNOPES, because that is a great fact checker. And then once it fact checks for you, guess what? You do not have to believe what they say. You can take the information that they gave you and now go and research it and see if that is accurate. But at least it kind of will disseminate and kind of do some of the work for you so you know what to research exactly. So if it says false, it usually will always give like references of why it's saying it's false or it's true. But if it says false or true, then you can go ahead and look as to what they're using as their evidence for why it's false or true. But that makes it a lot more easier for you to go and find out what you are even researching rather than just going to the black hole of Google, okay? So that is what I would suggest. Now, the second part, guys, let's talk about how information from these things is disseminated. Guess what? Your doctor is not a researcher, more than likely. Your doctor is not the one who is there taking data, taking samples, researching about coronavirus, okay? So by the time it gets to that person who's really even dealing with you and applying their medical experience to, education to help you, this has gone through so many people. So this is really the thing. Without a vaccine, the most important thing right now is pathology, in my view. Pathology meaning that we want to know the cause and effects of this disease. That's what pathology is. Majority of doctors, especially a primary care physician or an ER doctor, is not a pathologist, guys. Pathologist is a very specific type of medical doctor. They are an advanced person. They go to medical school and go and do 3 years advanced training and education to learn about pathology. This is why diseases happen, how it affects the body, okay? And so in order to be able to even learn those things and research those things, you need data. You need people to come in and say, I have this or whatever. And the more people you get, things can change. So imagine, guys, there's a reason why there's been so much differing in information. Remember in February, they were telling us not to wear masks? Oh, you don't need masks, not going to help, boom, boom, boom. In February, how many people were tested? In February, how many people did they know even had it? And in February, where was most of the information coming from? China. And like I said in my past video, China is a more homogeneous population, meaning that people are more the same in a lot of their ways because, of multiple things. It's not a big melting pot like America is, right? So then you bring this disease in an American melting pot populace, things are not all going to be the same as it was in that very single phase populace, right? Just for lack of better wording. So what happens? Pathology is going to be different. You all understand, okay, let's talk about like anemia, right? Sickle cell anemia is more predominant in the Black community. More Black people, whether they be African, West Indian, or African American, whatever, are susceptible to sickle cell anemia than non-Blacks. That has to do with something in the pathology that causes it. And for some reason, some genetic stuff that happens within Black people makes us more susceptible to it. Okay, so just imagine something like that. But we live in America with other people and they're still not getting it. So it's more than just your environment sometimes. Sometimes it has to do with genetic things, all of that. So in the same way, when we're learning about this in our population, we're learning things really in real time because the more people who report, the more people we know who have it, and the more different types of people that have it, the more we get to learn about exactly what this virus is, how it impacts us, and what we need to do to respond to it. So I'm not going to say that the whole thing has to do with it just being like false information. A lot of it is the right information, but some of it is just really day by day information, like honestly. And me being somebody who works in the healthcare field with one of these very prominent organizations that is that close to it, I can tell you literally it's a day by day situation. So it's so hard to say have patience because we're annoyed, right? I don't want to wear my mask to the store. It's annoying. But, don't think of it as, oh, they're trying to hold all this information. No, they're also learning about it day by day. And the more research and data that happens, that's how they're going to be able to even find a vaccine that's going to actually help kill this thing, okay? So we'll always talk about COVID, I think, until it's done. But that's my little spiel about that today because somebody, put that forward as a topic. All right, y'all. So my last topic is to talk about this is just gonna, guys, my blood pressure is boiling already. Michael Rappaport, okay, trying to shame the rap community. Well, and he shamed hip hop, and then try to kind of make it a little better by just saying, oh no, that new shit, whatever. Trying to shame us. Saying that what are we doing in response to COVID and us, I guess, not making songs about it or not doing a lot about it. First of all, Michael, Black people are dying at a higher rate of COVID than others. So just off bucks, we don't gotta do a damn thing except be Black and stay alive. All right. Second of all, there actually has been a lot done. So this is one of my pet peeves is when people do not research and they have a loud and wrong freaking opinion. Like, dude, Google is free. You're rich. You could have Googled before you put out your dumb opinion for the world to hear. Clearly, you have not learned because there have been 2 articles through the roof on this man. One was in 2016. Which talked about liking hip hop does not mean you get to tell Black people how to feel. And I think that this is pretty similar. Just because you like hip hop doesn't mean you get to dictate what we should be doing in that culture, okay? You, sir, are an outsider who was invited. Those people shouldn't have invited you because now you're talking shit about them, same people who invited you, so I kind of love to see it. But it is not your place to tell hip hop what to do. Dude, you talk about it. Okay? Do what you need to do. Don't tell us what to do. Okay? We deal with a lot. There was another article done saying that Michael Rappaport was the worst kind of white man. And the way that he's acting, I see why. So this man has already been kind of put through the ringer, and here he is still 2 years later with his loud, wrong, dumb opinion about what black people doing. Because at the end of the day, hip-hop is called black people. All right? Like, you should be happy that you're just here, part of the cookout, that people are even letting you discuss. All right? And it's funny because when I watched RZA versus DJ Premier battle, he came on the live too to like watch it, and I was like, what? But you know, it's like, it's great for you to enjoy hip hop, it's great for you to enjoy the culture, but sir, do not start dictating shit around here. But let's just put some light on the positive things that hip hop has done, because there has been positive things. I mean, Meek Mill, he donated his car, or he sold his car and to use the funds for donations, primarily for the minority communities that have been impacted by this in New York, because it's been really, really bad on minorities, particularly essential workers. Because even though 12% of the population, U.S. population, is black, there's a lot of us that are essential workers. So it's very easy for us to contract in that sense. And then you think about the disparities, socioeconomic disparities, lack of health care is one, and we have more underlying, pre-existing conditions. So those things have really impacted our mortality rate when it comes to COVID. But also remember, these mortality rates are by city. They don't have a national mortality rate for blacks yet to really show those numbers, so it's done by city. Cardi did her coronavirus song. Yes, it was silly. Yes, it's Cardi B, so it wasn't like super, super serious. But hey, she did it. She went viral, and she continues to talk about it on her page, okay? She even had Bernie Sanders, and they both talked about how Trump's response was some shit. So she's been very vocal, as have many other hip-hop personalities and urban personalities. I mean, even on Love and Hip Hop, they talk about it. On MTV, I see, or VH1, I see these Love and Hip Hop, reality personalities are telling you to wash your hands, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, they are involved, and, I don't think it's fair to be critiquing how much we're involved when we're the most impacted, because there's a lot going on, clearly. All right. D Nice doing Club MTV, that raises money, but I mean, there's different ways for us to be involved. It doesn't always have to be us making songs about this thing. We're also involved in the sense of trying to make people happy and forget about the fact that they're in their house every day. D Nice, all these Versa battles, all of that is helping with the just helping people get through self-care, mental wellness, and helping them deal with the fact that they're in their house without their friends. They get to go and, enjoy some entertainment. That's part of us getting through this. That's part of us talking about this, okay? And they mostly, all of them will stop and talk. I mean, I saw Anthony Hamilton's live a little while ago. I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, which was great. And he talked about it, trying to encourage people and uplift people. You have, Diddy raised $3.7 million, y'all, with his dance-a-thon. So for Michael Rappaport to even sorry, y'all, didn't mean to hear that. For Michael Rappaport to even bring up that topic as though we're like just sitting around not doing anything is really, really insulting and just not his place. And then to even try to put it on the new stuff, I don't like that either. I mean, these are kids, a lot of them, a lot of those people are pretty young. They probably don't even understand really what this is. But, the fact that I would prefer them not to have a loud and wrong opinion like him than to just try to have an opinion. I mean, as long as they're socially distancing, they're not encouraging others to leave their house. Honestly, I don't think that they need to have any type of opinion if they don't want to. So guys, that's my wrap up for today. I will be back next week as always. And I'm sorry that I missed the day that I initially said I was going to do this. Just, we get busy, child. We get busy. Anyways, y'all be safe, socially distance, wash your goddamn hands, and be good.